So there's a real chance that the White House saw a leaked 28-point plan from Russia and just decided to go with it, even having multiple senior officials get on board defending it as the only viable option forward, saying that Ukraine had no choice but to accept. But then yesterday, senators were told by Secretary Rubio, quote, "This is not our plan. It's the Russian wish list." And look, I genuinely don't know what's worse, that we may have taken word for word the Russian wish list and tried to write it off as the U.S. peace plan for Russia and Ukraine, or that the Russian wish list is seemingly close enough to what the U.S. wants that those could be confused in the first place. Jury's still out. I'm not entirely sure where I fall on that one. Now, as a little background here, Barack Ravid over at Axios, who we're going to hear more from here in a moment, broke this story a couple days ago when he received a leaked version of this 28-point plan. He said, quote, "The plan was drafted by Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff with input from Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner." And this document was wild. We ran through it in yesterday's video. It was very, very pro-Russia. The benefit to Ukraine in this entire document was essentially that the war would stop. Outside of that, Russia was getting everything and more that they've asked for. I mean, in this document, it said that NATO would no longer expand. Not just to Ukraine, but like in general, the alliance. That was it. No more countries ever. Russia gets that out of this. It's wild, right? It was giving up Ukrainian territory that Russia had not yet conquered. Like they're trying to take Donetsk. They have not been able to take Donetsk now in 11 years of war. And this agreement just gave it to Russia, territory they have not yet stepped foot on. It dropped all sanctions against Russia and then brought Russia back into the G8, amnesty for war crimes, and quite a bit more. Again, very, very pro-Russia. And there were a lot of people that were pretty upset about this, a lot of U.S. officials upset about this, which led to Secretary Rubio calling a number of U.S. senators to kind of say, hey, guys, listen, don't worry. This isn't our plan. This is the Russian wish list. It's a starting point. Don't get confused. Except that we had multiple senior U.S. officials saying, no, this is ours. We stand by it. We fully agree. Now, this was so pro-Russia, this agreement, that there was some speculation in The Guardian and a couple of different other outlets saying this looks to have been translated directly from Russia. And they pointed to some different phrases and terminology that isn't really used all that much in the English language. And look, we covered this yesterday in our video, and I said, I don't know that I would take those couple pieces of evidence to suggest that like we just took the Russian plan and presented it as our own. There's no way we would do that. I brushed it aside, I guess incorrectly. I thought there's no way we're that lazy or sloppy or compromised and that we actually would write our own plan. Or if it was the Russian plan, that somebody would just say that and say, this isn't ours. This is the starting point from the Russians. Adding to that confusion. So if that's the case, I just plain got that wrong. I didn't think we were anywhere near that level. Now, adding to the confusion here, understandably so, is we had multiple U.S. officials standing up saying, this is a good plan, this is our plan, and Ukraine needs to accept. Here's White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying just that.
But the president supports this plan. It's a good plan for both Russia and Ukraine, and we believe that it should be acceptable to both sides, and we're working very hard to get it done.
Then we had Vice President Vance, as soon as this leaked plan came out, stepping out and saying, hey guys, listen, peace plans, they got to have, they got to stop the killing, they got to be acceptable, they got to maximize chances that the war does not restart. Quote, peace won't be made by failed diplomats or politicians living in a fantasy land. It might be made by smart people living in the real world, kind of adding credibility to this plan that was now being circulated. And what Vance was responding to is a lot of people came out and said, oh, this is really bad. It's not just bad for Ukraine. This is bad for NATO. It's bad for Europe. It's bad for the United States. The only winner in this negotiation is Russia. It was weird that this would be a U.S. position. It may not have been the U.S. position. Representative Luna, the U.S. House of Representatives, said, quote, President Trump's peace deal is the only path forward to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. This is the way. Take the deal, Zelensky. And for what it's worth, we did have the Russian envoy here hammering this as Trump's plan as well. Kirill Dmitriev went on a rant on Twitter calling this President Trump's peace plan, saying people miss that Trump's peace plan is designed to save Ukraine. Warmongers hate President Trump's peace plan. So a lot of people coming out saying this is the U.S. plan. You can see how we might think, understandably so, that this is Trump's plan. So many people thought this that it kind of scrambled our allies. We have Ukraine, President Zelensky putting out a pretty dramatic message to his population saying that they were now in a position having to choose between the dignity of their people and a future partnership with the United States. Our European allies are jumping through hoops right now, trying to come up with a counterproposal because they believed that Zelensky had until the 27th to accept this deal. Today, as we speak, as we record, they're meeting in Geneva, trying to hammer something out. But this might not be the U.S. plan at all. It might actually just be the Russian wish list that we are kind of passing off as our own. So we'll unpack that chaos here in a second. But first, a quick thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Surfshark. Have you ever noticed how the internet kind of stopped feeling private? Every app wants your permission. Every website tracks everything you click. Even streaming some shows depends where you are. It's kind of frustrating, right? That's why I partnered with Surfshark. It's a VPN that keeps your data secure and lets you browse freely without being tracked or blocked. With one account, you can use it on unlimited devices, your laptop, phone, or even smart TV, and it works across all major platforms. They've got coverage in over 100 countries, so you can access content from anywhere, and their kill switch makes sure that your information stays protected even if your connection drops. Most importantly, Surfshark has a strict no logs policy, which means they don't collect or store your data. Full stop. Now, it's easy to set up, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying it out. So if you want to take back some privacy online and actually control who sees your data, this is the way to do it. Go to surfshark.com/Preston Stewart and use code Preston Stewart to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN for free. That's surfshark.com/Preston Stewart. Link is in the description. And thank you so much to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. So yesterday, this whole thing kind of started to unravel. We had Senator Rounds, a Republican. There's a number of senators that were together in Halifax. They were so frustrated, so concerned about this peace deal that they wanted to call with Secretary Rubio. He called this group. They had a press conference and they said, hey, here's what Rubio told us. And rather than paraphrase it or even direct quote it, let's watch the video. Here is Senator Rounds yesterday, a Republican, talking about his conversation with Secretary Rubio.
Secretary Rubio did make a phone call to us this afternoon. I think he made it very clear to us that we are the recipients of a proposal that was delivered to one of our representatives. It is not our recommendation. It is not our peace plan. It is a proposal that was received, and as an intermediary, we have made arrangements to share it, and we did not release it. It was leaked. It was not released by our members or our representatives.
Okay, so that actually passes the common sense test. And a quick note here on Senator Rounds, a Republican, and then next up we have Senator King, an independent. These are not like controversial senators that are out there like stirring up trouble wherever they can. They're pretty like even-tempered, all things considered. And what they just said, what he said here makes sense. Like, this seems like something that we probably should have heard from the administration or the State Department as soon as this document was leaked. It was like, yeah, it's the Russian plan. We're looking it over. We're going to make some changes. We'll find some middle ground, and we'll continue conversations with our European and our Ukrainian partners. That didn't happen, but hey, at least we're heading in that direction, right? So then we turn over to Senator King, also a part of that phone call where he says, just to clarify, guys, this is not our position. According to Secretary Rubio, this is just the Russian wish list. Here we go.
Secretary Rubio and the leaked 28-point plan, which according to Secretary Rubio is not the administration's position. It is essentially the wish list of the Russians that is now being presented to the Europeans and to the Ukrainians. It does provide a guideline to try to narrow the issues between Ukraine and Russia. And the encouraging thing to me is that the administration is not attempting to negotiate this agreement unilaterally, but indeed is in close consultation in the next few days with Ukraine and with our European allies. So
okay, so that actually makes a lot of sense. It explains why that document was seemingly so pro-Russia. It's because they wrote it. It's their opening list of demands. It's their starting point in negotiations. Like, of course they're going to ask for everything. Okay, I wish that this would have come out earlier. Seems like an important detail to have shared right out the gate when the document was leaked, but better late than never, I guess, right? Not so fast. So shortly after this press announcement from the senators, the State Department spokesperson came out and said, this is blatantly false in response to the senators. As Secretary Rubio and the entire administration has consistently maintained, this plan was authored by the United States with input from both the Russians and Ukrainians. Barak Ravid, the man who received that leaked document and published the first report on it, said, quote, I stand fully behind my story. This is a U.S. plan, like it or not. And then Rubio with the nail in the coffin. The peace proposal was authored by the United States. It is offered as a strong framework for ongoing negotiations. It is based on input from the Russian side, but it is also based on previous and ongoing input from Ukraine. So, I don't know, problem solved? Maybe. Is it clear? No? Still a little confusing? That's okay. You're not the only one confused. Donald Tusk, the Prime Minister of Poland, just earlier today, as they are trying to figure out a response to this 28-point plan, said that he is together with the leaders of Europe, Canada, and Japan. We have declared our readiness to work on the 28-point plan despite some reservations. However, before we start our work, it would be good to know for sure who is the author of the plan and where it was created. Are they negotiating with Russia, or is this the U.S.? Like, is this the plan that we said it's this, or we're walking away? Is this the Russian starting point? Seems like an important detail, and at least Poland's not entirely sure what's going on. The Kyiv Independent, reporting on this, said one senior Western diplomat put it privately to the Kyiv Post. We are stunned. When senators say one thing and the State Department says the opposite on the same day, it looks like Washington is negotiating with itself. How can Ukraine or Europe be expected to treat this as a real plan? They went on to say Western governments concluded that they may need to prepare for the possibility that Washington's stance is too unstable to guide a unified Western approach. And that's what we're starting to see a little bit here in the United States. Representative Don Bacon, a Republican, said, quote, some people better get fired on Monday for the gross buffoonery we just witnessed over the last 4 days. This hurt our country and undermined our alliances and encouraged our adversaries. Again, I don't know which part of this is true and which one's not. We essentially have to believe that these senators were lying, or Secretary Rubio was lying, or then it ends up with the administration line that this is our plan, and somebody's just blatantly not telling the truth here. I don't, take your guess, right? I mean, I feel like this is one of those times where you just get to decide which person do you like or which position do you like, and then it must be the other person that's lying, but even our allies are a little bit confused. So you might think that this is just, the media reporting on it and the people in the know clearly know. The people in the know clearly do not know. Zelensky treated this as the U.S. plan. Our allies overseas, Poland, is saying, wait, what exactly is happening here? Now, when we try to understand exactly what happened here, to be blunt, we don't know. It's going to take a little while to kind of sift through what's actually playing out. There is speculation that this was a Russian information op designed to kind of anchor the Russian demands as the starting point for these negotiations. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it certainly could be. That's essentially a nothing story. We've had multiple leaks from both sides about what they're going to be asking for and peace proposals and all of that. It's never really groundbreaking. Doesn't really make the full news, especially here in the United States. So I don't know why that would have been any different this time. Also, if it was the Russian plan that was leaked, just say it. It's like, here, you ready? We're going to solve this problem real quick. It's the Russian plan that's leaked. Then the official announcement is like, oh, yeah, guys, that's the Russian proposal. That's what they want out of this that they've put down in writing so far. Our job as the United States, kind of the mediator here, is we're going to take that. We're going to work with them to find something that may be acceptable to Ukraine, and we're going to work with Ukraine and try to find some sort of middle ground and get everybody to meet on an acceptable solution. Problem solved. It's not a news story then, right? It's just like, oh, yeah, this is a part of diplomacy. But we presented it as our own, which is very different. So again, kind of the big question here for me is if the senators are telling the truth, that Rubio told them this is the Russian plan, this is the Russian wish list, then we had a lot of people jumping on board right away to say this is a good plan and defending it. Like they looked at the Russian list of demands, assumed it was the U.S. and was like, this has to be it. No substance at all, just agreed with it. If the senators are lying, or maybe benefit of the doubt, they completely misunderstood Secretary Rubio. There's no good reason that our position is so unnecessarily favorable to Russia. And again, why does this read like NATO is surrendering in a war they didn't fight? It's very weird. It's not great, start to finish. Either way, bit of self-inflicted chaos here in the United States right now that, bottom line, does not paint us in a positive or reliable light. Whether you want the United States more or less involved in events overseas, more or less involved in what's happening in Ukraine right now, there is no scenario where we are better off when the world looks at us and says, I think they're arguing with themselves and they don't even really know what their own policy is. That's a problem. And that seems to be what's been playing out over the course of the last couple days. But that's all we got for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.